They are unique animals on the planet. Their origins date back to 4000 BC in the Arabian Peninsula, and the first record comes from a piece of pottery from ancient Egypt about 3,500 years ago. Therefore, thinking that the Egyptian Empire transported goods on this animal is just a fantasy, as the dromedary was known in this region 3,000 years later. You might wonder, how did they know about its existence? It is believed they learned about it through traders who traveled to the peninsula and became aware of its presence. Why is this important? Because the origin of the dromedary is purely human, and without human intervention, this species would not exist. There is no exact record of how it originated, but it is believed to have come from the selective breeding of its close relative, the Bactrian camel, which was used by humans. Through breeding and selection, a new species was created, the Arabian camel. In fact, it is correct to refer to the dromedary as an Arabian camel when its function is to transport people. Therefore, it is a mistake to call all camels with a single hump dromedaries. They are animals of Asian origin, but have been distributed across much of the planet, particularly in Africa, where this continent currently houses 1/3 of the world's population of this species. It has spread across North Africa, some regions of Asia, especially those near the Persian Gulf, and even to the Australian deserts, where it has adapted very well. There were also attempts to introduce them to other habitats, such as Alaska, with disastrous results for obvious reasons. As I mentioned earlier, their closest relatives are the Bactrian camels. Both belong to the Camelidae family, which also includes llamas, alpacas, vicuñas, and guanacos, the latter living exclusively in South America. Arabian camels are large animals. They can reach up to 10 feet in length, plus a tail that exceeds 16 inches. Their height at the shoulder is about 5.9 feet, and they can weigh up to 1,100 pounds. Although they are stocky animals, in some images their proportions may seem distorted. They feature a hump, their main characteristic, around which many myths exist. They are usually brown in color and have unique dentition. They are herbivores, and their teeth are designed for their diet. At birth, they develop 6 incisors in the upper jaw and 6 in the lower jaw, but as they grow, they lose the upper ones. Additionally, they have 2 pairs of canines, a feature shared with other members of their family and some herbivores of other species. They also have molars and premolars to grind their food. In culinary terms, they are called pseudo-ruminants because they have 3 specialized stomach cavities for digestion. Camelids have a rumen that stores what they ingest. If the food is not the right size, they can regurgitate it to chew it again. This organ is essential for camelids. When it's said that they spit at people, it's not saliva they expel, but ruminal content. So if you approach a dromedary, be sure to keep your mouth shut. In their rumen, there are bacteria that help digest fiber, producing gases that the animal absorbs and uses for energy. In fact, fiber cannot be digested directly by most mammals, as we don't have the enzymes to break its bonds. So don't believe everything they say. They have a reticulum, which is responsible for sorting the size of their food, and when it reaches a certain size, it passes to the abomasum, where gastric juices act. However, they don't have an omasum, which is a structure located before the abomasum. They have an even number of toes, only 2, where there is a pad that covers the entire sole of the foot. This allows them to walk on sand without their feet sinking and at the same time is rigid enough to prevent injury from rocks, thorny plants, or burns from the heat of the sand, one of their many adaptations to their hostile environment. Their eyes have long eyelashes that prevent dust and sand carried by the wind from entering. The nostrils of their nose are formed by muscles, allowing them to close them fully or partially to prevent airborne particles from entering. Their limbs and neck are long, facilitating heat loss. This is achieved because the blood vessels travel long distances and are closer to the outside, helping to dissipate body heat. Their physiology is designed to optimize every drop of water they ingest or can obtain from plants. This is where the rumen comes into play, as the water that reaches this organ is automatically distributed to the tissues. This is clearly observed when a camel travels long distances without drinking water and, upon reaching a water source, can consume up to 26 gallons in just 10 minutes. In these cases, they go from a state where their ribs are visible to a normal state, as the water consumed is stored between muscle tissues and the skin, forming edema that serves as a water reserve. It should be clarified that they only drink this amount in a short period of time when dehydration has been prolonged. Another advantage of camels is that urination is minimal and their feces are extremely dry. This is a strategy of the body to optimize every drop of water and avoid systemic failure due to dehydration. Their body temperature can reach up to 104 degrees Fahrenheit during the day and drop to 93 degrees Fahrenheit at night, which helps minimize water loss from both heat and cold. Additionally, they can lose up to 25% of their body weight in water without suffering consequences. In contrast, humans enter a critical state with a 12% water loss, leading to a total imbalance due to hypovolemia and severe dehydration. One of the most widespread myths about camels is that their hump stores water, as if it were a liquid reservoir. However, this is partly false. While the hump is made of fat, it does not actually contain water. However, when the camel drinks large amounts of water, it is distributed evenly throughout its body, including the hump. The fat in the hump, when metabolized, produces water, which has given rise to another myth, that the fat is a water reservoir. However, the process is not as simple as it seems. The hump of an Arabian camel contains around 99 pounds of fat, which can generate up to 15.8 gallons of water. However, for the fat to produce water when metabolized, an additional amount of oxygen is required, as it is essential for obtaining energy from carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. It has been calculated that the breathing necessary to obtain this oxygen would result in the loss of more than 15.8 gallons of water in the form of vapor, which is expelled through the lungs. When we breathe, we expel water vapor, which helps regulate our temperature, a process that is even more pronounced in dogs when they pant. In the case of camels, the fat in the hump breaks down to provide energy, reducing water loss through respiration. However, at the end of the process, the generated water is also lost, so the hump is actually an energy reserve that allows them to make it to the next watering hole. To obtain this energy and provide substrate for the ruminal bacteria, camels feed on a wide variety of plants, such as grasses, shrubs, and tree leaves, mainly feeding on cacti, which are characterized by having water-rich tissues. To avoid getting spiked, their lips, palate, and tongue are much thicker, keeping their mouth open and chewing each bite 40 to 50 times. They take between 8 and 12 hours to feed and a similar amount of time for rumination, during which they regurgitate their ruminal contents and chew them again. Their sexual dimorphism is not pronounced. It can only be determined by observing their external genitalia. Females reach sexual maturity at 3 years old, while males reach it at 6 years old, although this depends on the geography they are in. A male typically has a group of females, being polygamous. Gestation lasts about 15 months, and they give birth to one calf at a time, though in rare occasions two. The mother cares for and feeds them, and within a day, they can walk on their own, but they will remain independent until the age of 4. Their lifespan is around 40 years. Arabian camels are a species created by humans from Bactrian camels. Their importance to humans is the same as that of horses to Europe. This vertebrate serves multiple functions, with the primary one being transportation, allowing them to cross the unforgiving deserts or transport goods, food, and other items, although this is used less and less due to technological advances. Still, people continue to use them for transportation. In addition to serving as transportation, camels provide food, leather, hair, wool, and even milk, from which byproducts are derived that help mitigate the scarcity of resources in the population. And although some might think they are unfortunate, I want to remind you that these people live in one of the most extreme places on the planet. They are not easy animals to handle. Some even attack their owners, biting them with their tusks, kicking them, throwing them to the ground, or spitting on them. However, believe it or not, this species is highly adapted to humans, as individuals have often escaped and most do not survive on their own. Those that do survive and become feral have not spread out like other species. Without a doubt, without the help of the Arabian camel, it would be very difficult for people to survive in these regions of the planet, where both suffer the harsh climate, but thanks to the symbiotic relationship, both benefit. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please give it a like and share it so more people can discover this channel. I'll leave my social media links so we can stay in touch. I'll also make important announcements about the channel through those platforms. If you're new, I invite you to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you soon. Bye.